All right, Andrew Bird there, a couple from the album Weather Systems, which I've been listening to a lot lately. We heard which I think I played last week, and then Lowell there was that one. And gotten settled in here, and as I mentioned before those songs, I'm in the studio with a local musician named Michael Hicks. He's from Mount Vernon, and the name of his band is Forget Me in June, and he'll tell you a little bit about the history here in just a moment. But we've got a 6-song EP that we're going to play all 6 songs and talk about it and talk a little bit about the history of his band and such. So welcome to WDBX, Michael.
Thanks for having me here. It's been pretty cool.
Very, very, very nice. He got the tour before I arrived here from Jeff, so thanks to Jeff for showing him around our humble facilities here. And so the name of the band is Forget Me in June, and you have one other bandmate, correct?
Yeah, his name's Adrian. Yeah.
Okay, and but he doesn't live in Mount Vernon like you.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's a long story. I guess I can jump on in here.
Yeah. You can take it. So.
Well, back in grades, I'm 18 years old right now. He's a couple years older than me. I actually met him back when I was in grade school. We used to play this Star Wars game called Star Wars Battlefront or whatever. I met him on there online, and we hit up this message board, and we got to talking or whatever. And we had like a lot of we liked the same kind of music. We really hit it off, online or whatever. And eventually, a couple of years later, we met in person, and we wrote some songs together. And we've been making music for a long time. But since like last year, we finally called it Forget Me in June or whatever. But we're longtime friends, and so it's the songs that you're gonna listen to today. We actually sent back and forth through the internet since he lives in Florida. He lives in West Palm Beach. So well, I guess we can talk about the recording thing later if you want. Or
Sure. Or you feel free to you can explain a little bit about that, because I think that's definitely that's an interesting part. Doing a long distance recording.
Yeah,
that's cool. Really cool.
Yeah. Well, we had this is our second EP. The first EP that we did, he actually flew up from West Palm Beach last summer, and he stayed at my house for 3 weeks, and we recorded this EP or whatever, the first one, and that was really cool and all. But then we were kind of we had a time limit, so we were a little stressed to get everything done. But when we did it through the internet, we'd send stuff back and forth. Like usually how it was is I'd start like an instrumental and I'd send it his way through email or whatever, and he'd put on vocals or say something, put whatever he felt it needed and send it back. So it was like a back and forth process, and it was kind of annoying at times because when you're in person you can be like, oh, let's just fix that right now, But when you're sending it back and forth through the internet, it's hard to explain what exactly you're wanting done, and so each way kind of had its pros and cons, but I think it was the songs that came out in this new EP were a lot more relaxed because there wasn't like a time limit like I mentioned before. We had like 3 weeks to get everything done and blah blah. But now we probably took 6 or 7 months working on this EP. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to get into the first song here? You want to talk about it?
The first song on here is called "Damn Hipsters," and it's kind of a joke. The song's pretty much about, like, after we released our first EP, I was in a metal band before, and we showed kind of, our old fans the EP we did, and they're like, man, what kind of drugs were you on? Were you writing this music? And they're like, where's the heavy guitar? Why isn't this, why can't I rock out to this? So this is like kind of a reply to that, it's like, here's your heavy guitar. It's kind of like the middle finger song, if you will,
Okay.
So it's called Damn Hipsters.
All right, right on. Well, here we go. Forget Me in June with Damn Hipsters. Okay, so you were just we were just talking. That's Damn Hipsters, and I have Michael Hicks. Sorry, Michael. Michael Hicks from Forget Me in June is the name of the band in the studio today. And if you're just joining us, Michael is from Mount Vernon, and you told us your age, but you called me after school. I thought you were calling me after school at Rin Lake or something, but no. In fact, you're still in high school. So I was amazed that you guys have done. And this is your second EP with them, and you've been in another band, which you just told me used to play at Pops in St. Louis.
Yeah.
So I'd say you're on your way to having some good things happen.
Oh, thanks.
So, so anyway, not to cheese out on all that, but we were talking about the recording, and you were going to maybe talk a little bit more about the process, and then also how you were inspired to release it on your website. Yeah,
well, we're both really big fans of Radiohead. I don't know, some of your listeners might know about them, but they released In Rainbows back in 07 for free. Anybody, you can pay what you want pretty much for their album. And we were like, man, that's really cool, And we thought, see, my old band, our album had been leaked on BitTorrent sites. It was such great promotion. We were like, you know what, we might as well just give this out for free. I mean, we're not in this for the money. We just kind of want to get it out there. So really, it was a big Radiohead inspiration just to put on our website, and anybody can download it at www.forgetmeinjune.com. There's a little tab up there that says download for free or whatever, and you click that and you just save it right to your computer. So it's pretty straightforward. So
Yep. I've done it twice now.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. And is there anything else you want to add about that, or you want to talk about the next song that we're going to hear?
Yeah, I guess we can go and talk about the next one. The next one's called Morning Sigh. And that was mainly kind of Adrian's, lyrically, that was kind of his song. He had a lot to say. It was like a personal experience that he wrote about or whatever. But the thing that I thought was cool about our lyrics in this EP is that they're kind of they're pretty simple, but you can apply it in so many different ways. They go in different directions and stuff. And that's why actually I do one verse on all of our songs. We try to both be on it vocally, and I'm on it towards the end or whatever. But I came on with my verse. And I tried to I added in my kind of experiences to what he was feeling lyrically or whatever. So it's his song. It's a kind of a minimal song compared to some of the later tracks. It's got a little drum beat and a little synthesizer, but hopefully everybody enjoys it. So.
Okay, what instruments are you guys play? Do you both kind of play everything? Or?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, the last EP we did a lot of guitar, bass, kind of the traditional rock setup. But in this EP, we did a lot of electronic stuff. So I guess you could say, we played the laptop computer a lot, But I mean, I recorded trumpet, piano tracks, guitar, So I just whatever we felt the song needed, we'd record for it,
Yep. So. Okay, cool. Well, here we go with Morning Sigh. All right, you're listening to Forget Me in June, and I have Michael Hicks from the band in the studio today. I'm Jason, by the way. Be here talking to Michael for the next half hour and playing 4 more of their songs. And then after that, he's got a playlist set up of music that has inspired him, influenced him, and that'll be coming up for the second half of the show today. And surprisingly, it's not. It sounds like your playlist includes a lot of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. It'll fit right in.
Yeah.
Although we do like diversity, so I wouldn't be opposed if hadn't heard of any of them. So that being said, how'd you get into all this cool music at your young age?
Well, we were just talking because I'm from Mount Vernon. I can't remember if I mentioned that earlier, but in Mount Vernon, it's everybody there either listens to country, classic rock, or the top 20, whatever, Lady Gaga kind of stuff. So, the kind of music that we're doing is, people think it's so weird at Mount Vernon. I was inspired by Radiohead and stuff. And my cousin, he actually got me in to Radiohead. He's 10 years older than me, and he was in high school when OK Computer came out. And, I mean, as soon as he turned me on to Radiohead, he turned me on to him, a little bit before In Rainbows came out. I'm like, man, this is amazing. And ever since then, Radiohead's kind of linked me to all kinds of bands, like Arcade Fire and Vampire Weekend and, all kinds of stuff. So it all kind of started with my cousin turning me on to Radiohead, and they just kind of went from there. With the internet and all that, you can find all kinds of music on there. So it just kind of took off from there. Yeah, it is a real treat to live in this day and age. When so much, you hear the name of a band, you don't have to wonder or go out and spend the money necessarily to find out if you really dig them or not. So so it's cool. It sounds like you go to lots of shows too. You mentioned a few, and that's also a good way to support them. So yeah, exactly. So anyway, hopefully you guys will play some shows out, and folks will get a chance to see. I think we're gonna go ahead and go into our break here, and then come back on the other side and talk about the next song.
You're listening to WDBX 91.1 FM. Okay, back in the studio now, and live in the studio, I should say. Getting ready to hear a song called Brooklyn. You want to tell us about that, Michael?
Yeah, that was actually, I went on like a little vacation when we were like in the middle of recording this EP. It was like a little weekend vacation, and we went to Kansas City, and there was a street there that was called Brooklyn, and like the stuff I saw on that street kind of inspired their lyrical elements in this song or whatever. And another thing that I really am proud of about the lyrics in this EP is we talk about like personal things, but then we kind of talk about like society as a whole. Like we kind of go from one extreme to the other, you know. And this is, I guess, more of a kind of outlook on society kind of song. Like I said, it was based off the street, but we kind of broaden it up a little bit, and hopefully people will enjoy it. Oh, this one, actually, if you notice at the beginning, we trade off lines back and forth. And that's where we're like, man, we wish we were in person, because we had to send that back like over and over. You know, we could have finished the song in like one day, but it took us 3 months because we had to send it back and forth. You know what I'm saying? To do like one line at a time. But I think it was worth it in the end, and hopefully everybody enjoys it.
Cool. Brooklyn by Forget Me in June.